And now we have a special guest, the President of European Journalism Training Association, Nicko Drok. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Define personality of the communication leader and these tasks and mission. What do you think about mission of the communication leader of the 21st century?
Well, I think it is a difficult question because in our society nowadays things change very, very fast, and it is very difficult to look ahead for more than 5 or 10 years. What I think is important is that we have communication leaders, because our society is all about communication. It's becoming even more important than it already was. But sometimes communication is a bit too much of speaking and not listening. And I think real communication has both in it. So I think a communication leader should be able to speak, but also be able to listen very carefully.
During the forum, the theme of your lecture is Future of the Journalism. At the beginning of this year, the journalist robot was created in China. Mm-hmm. He can write text in 1 second. And so here's my next question. What future awaits a human in the field of journalism?
I think in English we speak about the newspaper, and about 20 years ago we had to get used to the idea that the word paper of newspaper was old-fashioned, that it is becoming more and more digital. And now we are in a period where the word news becomes more or less old-fashioned, because news of course still will be important, but it will not so much be professional journalists who are working on news. It will be ordinary people with their cell phones. It will be robots. It will be aggregators. So the focus will shift from news to context, to doing investigations, to do background things, etc. And for many journalists, this is a new idea, because they just as they found it very difficult to say goodbye to the word paper, they now find it very difficult to say goodbye to the word news. And I'm not saying that news will not be important, but it will be less important. It will be taken over. And we have seen this in many professions, that technology takes over parts of people's work. And journalists have to just adapt to that. And other things will come back for that. So I'm not pessimistic about the future of journalism. I'm a bit pessimistic about the news industry as a job professional, job supplier.
Many journalists argue about definition of journalism. It's a profession or a mission. What do you think about the role of the education in journalistics profession?
I think I think journalism is a profession and a mission. And in my own university, some teachers say nowadays everybody is a journalist. And I don't agree with that. I think nowadays everybody can send a story. But sending a story is not the same as journalism. Journalism really is a profession where you work following certain codes, doing certain ethics, etc., etc. And that is important. And the other thing that is important is that journalism stays independent. So we must be independent from commerce, we must be independent from state, we must be independent more or less from what the public wants every minute. We have our own things to decide, and I think it's very important that journalists think about their mission in society, because society is changing so fast.
Could you share your impressions about our university?
Yes, I can. It is as far as I can see, I've only been here 8 hours, 7 hours maybe. But what strikes me is the atmosphere. I mean, the building is beautiful, and walking through the building with all the photographs and a lot of the university cherishes its history. Its history is important, but it does not stick in history. It also looks to the future, and I think that is, you can feel it when you walk through the university, that there is this link between the future and the past, and people feel feel very well here. I saw these students this morning dancing and making music, and it was very good to be there. Yes, I liked it very much. It is a good university in my opinion. Maybe tomorrow I think it is a lousy university, but now I am very positive about it.
What do you think about Faculty of Journalism and South Ural State University?
Well, what I have seen so far, I'm impressed by the level of professionalism. I mean, it is very important for some schools of journalism who are attached to a university. It is very difficult to have also the practical aspect of journalism. I see a lot of journalism schools also in Russia who are very theoretical, who are very much on literature, on that kind of thing. And I'm not saying that that is not important, but it's also important to have all the things you have here. I mean, you don't want to sit in an airplane where the pilot has never done practical flying, only studied from the books. You have to do your flying hours. And the same goes for journalism. You have to practice, and then finally you think, okay, that is how I should do it. And what I see, I just saw some footage of a television program, and it looked just like a professional program. So it really is a very good level.
And what could you wish to beginners of journalism?
Well, I would wish that they don't think they are professional when they start. They must know that they have to learn a lot during their. I mean, the idea that everybody is a journalist, and when you can write a piece that you are a journalist, that is a fallacy. I would wish them to become practical but also critical thinkers, independent thinkers, and believe in the very important mission of journalism in our society. And I think that is the most important thing. You have to believe that you are doing something. Maybe you will not change the world, but if you change the world for only a tiny bit, if you make it a little bit better, then you have succeeded.
Thank you. And I'm reminded that we had a special guest, the President of European Journalist Training Association, Nicko Drok.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.